Hey everybody, this is Dave with Dave's Online Instruments, DII. We've got a special project coming up and it's inside this box right here. We had a customer who owned one of our handpans, one of our Luna Sunsets, and her house burned down in the summer of 2018, just recently, in the Carr fire up in Northern California. It was a really tragic event. Anyway, the day after her house burned down, she gave us a call and said, "I've got to get another handpan." It was just the most amazing call I've ever received because it meant that much to her. So at that point I said, you know what, if you can go through the rubble of your house and find the original handpan shells that were burned in the fire, I think I might be able to give them rebirth. I might be able to fix them or put them back together or tune them again. Even if I can't tune them, if it's not possible, at least maybe I can make some wall art for you. Make it look pretty and you put it on your wall to kind of commemorate the whole thing. So right now we're going to do the reveal. So this is the reveal. We've got the DII team surrounding me here, and we're going to open the box and we're just going to show everybody what these shells look like that came out of a house that was burned down. So here we go.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Oh, nice.
Oh, even the ashes.
Crunchy munchy.
Holy cow.
Oh my God.
Look at that. So I'm just assuming that they were also wet, you know, got burned, and probably the fire department might have
The water.
soaked them.
Down.
So they look considerably rusty. There's like a lot of scale here.
Wow.
So yeah, this will be an interesting project. So keep your eyes on what's going on here. This will be really fun to see how this progresses. So I'm hoping that I can tune these.
Yeah.
Even if they're not the perfect sounding handpan, it'll be like just very interesting and have a great story. So off we go.
Yeah.
It says S-U-N-S-E-T. I usually write on the inside so you can still see it. Alright, so I'm about to do the first tuning on this instrument since it's been incinerated in that fire. And it sounds like this. I just want to give you guys an idea of what it sounds like. So it's a lot different than when it had its original sound when the owner was playing it, when she owned it there. But I'm going to give it my best and see what we can come up with. I must say, though, that it sounds about like a handpan would before I tune a regular handpan anyway. So I have actually some good optimism for this. I think it's going to turn out all right. I just finished tuning the shell. This is the top shell. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So it did pretty much what I expected it to. Since we have to burn and anneal steel anyway before we make any kind of handpan instrument, burning is just part of the process. So I was just assuming that even though this was burned at perhaps a higher temperature than we normally would burn an instrument, it seems like it did the same kind of thing. So I was just able to bring it back into tune. A nice aspect about it was that the shaping of the notes was already done because I had already tuned it once before, and so bringing it back was not as difficult as it could have been. So yeah, I was really pleased with the way it turned out. And the only thing that's a little bit weird now is the top shell had a bunch of scale and rust on it, so it's got some pits in it, but that's okay. It's still absolutely going to work. All right, here we are. We're at the final mile with this handpan project, a refurbishing project. I spoke with the owner, and we decided to name this handpan Ashes because it unfortunately was burned up in the fire up there. But we're giving it some rebirth here, and hopefully she'll really enjoy it again. But as you can see, it looks a lot different than it did when it got to us. You remember those first pictures that we took of this instrument? It was completely burned and charred, separated because the glue had come undone, burned away, etc., etc. All of the notes were completely out of tune. So we've pretty much refurbished the entire thing, and we are now ready to do the final tuning on it. We took it to the powder coater recently, got the finish done on it. Obviously, you can see we did the new patina and the powder coating. And we polished the ding here, the ding dimple. So I'm going to start with the bottom side, tune the top tone notes first, and I'm going to tune the top side. And hopefully by the end of this session, we'll be ready to move on up and deliver it to the customer. Closer. So the ding note, the top note, the bass note basically, it's pretty much in tune. It's pretty close. When I tune the others around the side, it always throws the ding note off a little bit. So I got it pretty close. Got some green on the screen. Check it out. Green on the screen means we're close, so I'm going to move on. right, so I finished it up. Got it done. So I'm happy it's playable again. During the tuning process, I did find some difficulties going along the way. I think it's because this drum has been burned and tuned and burned and tuned and burned so many times. The steel doesn't kind of respond exactly the way it does when I normally make a handpan. So it was just an interesting process. Ran into some difficulties along the way, but finally got it to settle in. And the thing I'm most happy about is that it's going to be totally playable because my customer, she already has another handpan, and now she's going to have two. She can play along with her friends and her family and have a great time. So the rebirth of this instrument, I believe, is complete. I might do a little fine-tuning before we deliver it to her, but this is pretty much done. Got the top notes, the bottom notes. So I'm excited to deliver it to her. So here we go. All right, I'm on my way. Here we go. We're about to meet Margie for the first time. This is going to be fun. Hopefully we have the right house. We'll see what happens here.
Hello.
Greetings. Hi, how are you?
I'm
Margie.
good. How are you?
Pleasure
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having us come up
Oh, thank you for coming all this way.
here. Absolutely. And Jeff
Come
is
on
it? Jeff.
in.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to meet you. All right. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm here with Margie and Jeff Ivicevich, and we're in Redding, California. And Margie was one of my handpan customers several years ago now.
Right.
And she had there's a very fascinating story that occurred with her handpan. And so here we are discussing how the story unfolds. Basically, she and Jeff owned a home in the Redding area when there was a big gigantic fire, gigantic conflagration. And their home was burned down in that fire. And along with it, the handpan was burned up as well. So we're just here to discuss this a little bit with them, and as it turns out, they sent me the parts and I refurbished them. So today we're going to talk about the whole story, and at the end we're going to see what the new handpan looks like in its refurbished condition. So, all right, here we go. So tell us a little bit about maybe the day of the fire. Like, when did you find out that your home might have been in danger, or just anything?
Well, it started on a Monday, and I remember being at yoga across town from where I lived, and I came out and I saw the plume of smoke. And we're all going, wow, that looks really big. But it was way over on Whiskey Town, which is like 20 minutes from town. And no one, there's been fires out that way before, and no one expected it to come into town. And I remember looking at it going, wow, that's big, a lot of smoke. And then each day, it kept growing. But everybody kept saying to us, it's not going to jump the river. We're in good shape. It's got to jump the river to get to us. What happened is the fire came up the river, and then right when it got to the neighborhood, it kind of went behind the houses, and he thought we were going to be okay. But there was so much ash that it caught. We had big, beautiful redwood trees across the street from it. They caught on fire. They caught on fire, and then our house caught on fire. And big 2-story house that we had.
Yeah.
And then we
How long did you lived in that house?
33 years.
Wow.
Built it myself, and had it built and designed it, and been remodeling it all that time. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful home, a craftsman artisan home.
I don't know how soon it was after when you called me, but I recall it was fairly soon.
I wanted my handpan
Yeah.
back, so I was going to buy another handpan.
Yeah,
you know?
I was like, when you said that, I was just completely floored because I wouldn't have thought that would have been something that you would have been thinking about.
Yeah, but I needed some sense of, normalcy, and I like to play music, and
Yeah.
that was my favorite instrument,
Yeah.
so I said, well, why wait? I'm
Right.
just going to call him and get another one right away.
Right. I mean, like basically, when you did that, I just thought, I've got to do something for you. I mean, it just
I'm so
felt
glad
really,
I called
felt
you.
really odd. Your house burned down. I'll sell you another handpan. But that's why I can't remember how long after it was after we had that phone call. I think it was me who suggested maybe could you find the
Yeah,
shelves. I
and
don't
then
know.
it
Was
took
it
us
days? Was it weeks after that? I don't remember.
Let me think.
Maybe
It wasn't long after that you suggested,
Yeah.
it was right away. You said, if you can find it, send it to me and I'll try to refurbish it, and if I can, I'll make it an art piece. And I
Right.
said, "That's
I've been
great."
digging through the rubble for about 3 days, and I didn't think about the handpan. I just thought it was gone.
Oh, at the time. So
Yeah,
even
at the
before you
time.
knew I was even,
looking for other stuff
Yeah,
that he had, and
yeah.
it was pretty amazing the stuff you do find that's still
Yeah.
intact. But she said, look for the handpan. And she came out with me one day, and she kind of pointed around where she thought it was, and I dug around there, it wasn't there. And then there's our big air conditioning system, and it was kind of right underneath it.
Wow. So
And it didn't
are you
crush
talking,
it.
He pulled
are you
it
talking
out.
about the air conditioner that would have normally been
On the roof,
right?
Right.
it comes right down.
So
and it's, yeah,
it crashed down
Yeah, and it was
near
Yeah.
the handpan sign.
And there it was. So I
Wow.
just pushed it
Because
up.
the whole house
and
kind of
grabbed the
slid
pieces.
sideways, I think, when it fell down.
Wow. Margie, are you ready to see ashes?
I can't wait.
Awesome. I can't wait to show it to you. All right. I don't know. Is it a he or a she, ashes?
Ashes, I think, is a she.
It's a she? Okay,
Yeah.
can't wait to show her to you.
Okay.
All right, so we just saw those pictures of what she used to look like. And here she is now.
Oh, wow. It looks great.
Yeah.
I can't
So-
believe it's the same one that I sent
Yeah.
you.
So you can see the bottom almost
Bottom's
looks...
like brand new.
Yeah, it looks almost as if no problem
Great.
ever occurred. On the top, you can kind of see some of the little pitting.
But I
there.
don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a player's guitar,
Yeah.
That looks great. Nice.
So yeah, I mean it's playable. I think all the lower notes sound fine. The high two came out a little bit clunky.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
a little
it.
clunky. But
Sounds good. I'm happy. Thank you.
all right, I'd like to thank Margie and her husband Jeff for joining us and making this video happen. It was a wonderful story, tragic story, but also just fascinating and an amazing way it all worked out. I'm super happy that Ashes is back in her possession and that she can play it with joy once again. And now she's got 2 handpans so she can play with a friend.
Yes,
So-
I'm so happy about that. And this one's name is Phoenix.
Phoenix, awesome. So we've got Ashes and Phoenix.
Yes.
So now you're ready to go, move straight ahead into the future, and
Yeah, I think this is going to be a turning point for me.
awesome,
Yes.
wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.